Myths. Myths about the cleaning industry. Things that you always thought were true, and then lo and behold, you find out they are not. I know! Scary stuff. We're going to talk about it today. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, if you have a question, you can go over to askahousecleaner.com. Right there in the bottom of the screen is a little blue button. You click on it and a microphone appears, and you just start talking to me here at the show. If you don't want to talk to me, you can also email me, angela@askahousecleaner.com. And it comes right to me here at the show, and we will answer your questions. All right, on to today's show, I have a very special guest. This is Bruce Vance from Town & Country Cleaning. He's owned a cleaning business for almost 30 years, and he wrote the book, The House Cleaning Training Manual, which I went through his certification program, okay? This guy is the expert, and he's a very technical expert. I mean, he knows about all the cleaning chemicals and all the different surfaces and all kinds of stuff. And I'm really trying to talk him into coming with me to create a program for you guys inside our learning library over at Savvy Cleaner. Anyway, today he's going to help us bust some myths about things that you thought were true about the house cleaning business. And then lo and behold, they are not true. I know, scary stuff. All right, so please help me welcome Bruce Vance from Town & Country Cleaning.
I'm Bruce Vance. I've been in the house cleaning industry now for almost 30 years. I have managed to screw up more things than you can imagine, so I know a whole bunch of lessons learned from it. Found out that a lot of the things I thought were true aren't, and we worked on creating the house cleaning technician class, which is from the IICRC, which in order to create that, we had to deal with a lot of industry professionals and get the ideas from a lot of different people. And in teaching this, I've learned a lot also from people out in the field, but I've also heard an awful lot of things that just aren't true that people believe.
Well, you know, it's interesting, having been in the industry almost 30 years, you've seen things that have worked and things that haven't worked, and then having the professional background of working with the IICRC and creating the course for house cleaning technicians. You've got a wealth of information. You are the go-to guy in the industry.
That's what they tell me.
Well, that's what they tell me too. And so I'm sitting here like going, we are not worthy. So I'm super excited that you're joining us today, because you're going to help us understand some of the common myths in house cleaning that lots of people read from the internet. And then they say, oh, that's such a great idea. And then they create some chaos in their own homes.
One of the things I think I would jump in on, given what we're hearing in the news right now, is the myth that if you clean with a disinfectant cleaner, you are disinfecting.
Well, of course, right?
No, you are not. If you read the instructions on most of the labels, and those labels are very carefully controlled by the EPA, it normally says if it's dirty, you have to clean first, then reapply the disinfectant for however long the dwell time on it is, and then wipe it up or keep it. In many cases, you have, especially if food is going to touch it, you have to clean it. Very few people are doing that. And so we're running around thinking we're disinfecting things when we're really not. And one of the issues I used to just tell people in classes, if you don't tell people you're disinfecting, tell them you're sanitizing, which we're doing basically with the cleaning, which is enough to get you normally to a safe point. But we're finding out that there have been a number of cases where when disinfectants were improperly used, it created bugs that became immune to the disinfectants and also immune to the antibiotics used to treat the diseases that they caused. So this has become a much more serious situation. There was even some studies that the basic disinfectants were becoming ineffective against Mercer. So reading the label, the other thing I always love to hear is that people don't realize that disinfectants are regulated by the EPA as pesticides. Would you be quite as happy if someone said, I'll make you healthy by spraying pesticide all over your home? Now, don't get me wrong. Disinfectants used properly, according to label directions, in the right cases, save lives. We do not want to go and say, never use a disinfectant. Another big myth is that vinegar is a disinfectant. It is not. To understand where vinegar is and where its reputation comes from, you have to understand that years ago, when I was a kid, most of you would be much younger than that, we had no detergents. And so all we had was soap. So if you wanted to wash your floor, you made up the spick and span, you mopped the floor, then the soap left a lot of residue on the floor. So then you had to go back and rinse the floor. If you have an alkaline residue, which was what the soap was, and you add an acid to your rinse water, it rinses better. So people would add vinegar to their rinse water, and that would get it squeaky clean. So you heard Grandma said, it makes it squeaky clean. Well, that has been gone on and on and on. When wood floors, when the polyurethane first came in, people were using the same oil soaps they were using on the other floors, and it was causing all kinds of problems for the installers if they wanted to recoat the floor. Well, so people would say, don't use the oil soap. Well, what do we use? The installer wasn't a cleaner. He'd go, well, Mama always said vinegar got it squeaky clean, so use vinegar. And you can still go out, and in publications all over, it says use vinegar and water on your wood floors. But when I go to the Surfaces show, every single manufacturer of wood floor says don't. Three said they would void the warranty the first time you used it.
Is that a little bit of vinegar, or is that like 50% vinegar, or is it just vinegar at all?
Vinegar at all is what they say. Probably if you have a little bit, it's not going to do enough to make a difference. But we have done some studies with people who have made up vinegar cleaning solutions, and we've compared their solution to deionized water using an ATP meter to test the results. And the deionized water and the microfiber win every time. So if you want to use something, distilled water is actually greener, and it is probably more effective with a good microfiber.
Well, now, when you talk about greener, I know that on the internet, there are all kinds of fun concoctions, like you mix baking soda and vinegar together, and then you get like this really healthy combination that's green that cleans your house, right?
That's one that amuses me, and I've seen it a number of places. When you mix baking soda and vinegar, say in a sink, it makes all kinds of fuzz, and it has a chemical reaction because they neutralize each other. So you could probably generate some heat, and you may generate some effectiveness there in those few seconds. But to mix it up and put it in a jar, you've basically taken an acid and an alkaline, and you have totally neutralized both of them.
So basically, in the end, it's not effective at all.
Right. And you've got to watch this with the idea of mixing chemicals too, because people will sit there and say, well, this cleaner does so well and this cleaner does so well. I'm putting them together and they're going to be much better. If you're lucky, you're just neutralizing it. If you're not lucky, you may be producing some fumes that can be deadly.
And I feel the pain because every single day I'm working with house cleaners and they're like, well, my lead tech is in the hospital because she mixed some chemicals. And well, of course, she's not a chemist. She's a house cleaner, right? What gives her permission to mix chemicals and think that because she's been on the job for 3 months, she's an expert now and she can start making her own cleaning chemicals? I don't understand it. And I hear it every single day.
Absolutely. You have enough trouble when there is something going on in the house that you're not aware of. For instance, we had a situation where someone had a chlorine block in the toilet tank and it was clear. So it didn't, and we were using an acid cleaner at that point, a toilet bowl cleaner. The gal put the acid toilet bowl cleaner in there. The chlorine gas came immediately off and we had to literally haul her out of there. When you start mixing stuff, ammonia and bleach gives you mustard gas, which was used as a weapon in World War I.
So not recommended for house cleaners.
Not recommended for house cleaners, especially if you don't want your workman's comp to go crazy.
So let me ask you this. I know that there are a lot of house cleaners and even homeowners that will buy products off the grocery store shelves, and they are in bright colored packages. So of course they must work. And they think, well, because it's not as effective as it could be, I can just mix more concentrate. The more, the merrier, right?
The purpose of a chemical company is to sell chemical. If 10 ounces work better than 3 ounces, they would tell you that. Normally what happens then is you get more chemical than your water, which is your carrier, can hold. And you end up with things like either infinite suds. I had one fellow mix a cup instead of a capful of cleaner into a gallon of water, and he had to rinse the floor 11 times.
Ooh.
That didn't move anything forward in a hurry. And that's also when you mix too strong, you often leave some residue behind, and that's one of the main causes of sticky floors.
Well, and along with the sticky floors comes the dog hair and the dust and everything else that passes through the room, just airborne passing through the room. Then it sticks to those floors, and now your floors are so much dirtier than if you just got the chemical concoction correct the first time.
Right. And then you go in, you've cleaned the floor, you've left, the homeowner is going, why is this floor such a disaster? And you think you did a better job because you used extra cleaners.
We had that just the other day. There was a house cleaner that said, I cleaned that floor 7 times. And I just kept adding more and more cleaning solution to it so that I could get it even cleaner than before. And I'm like, oh dear.
Well, something that goes along with that, one of the calls I'll get occasionally is somebody will be working with a wood floor, and they'll mix their cleaner a little stronger, or they'll mix a degreaser in there, and they'll go, the floor will turn to mush. And the homeowner's going, you going to replace this floor? And they go to their insurance company, and their insurance company goes, no, because liability insurance does not cover mistakes you make. And I have had people tell me up and down, oh no, my insurance company covers anything that goes wrong in the house, my liability insurance. It doesn't cover the equivalent of malpractice. We're in Pittsburgh, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and our website is cleanmychapelhillhouse.com.
Alrighty, and that is Bruce Vance. I tell you, every time I talk to this guy, I learn so much. He's a wealth of information, and I know you guys will learn a lot from him as well. I know, it's awesome. So I'm going to leave links to his business in the show notes so that you guys can get to know him. And if you live in Chapel Hill in the North Carolina area, Pittsburgh, Carrboro, all those areas, you can hire him and have his cleaning company come service your business. Alrighty, if you found this helpful, please pass it on to a friend. If we've earned your subscription, please subscribe. And until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.